Assalamu alaikum class. This is your teacher, lecturer Asif here. I hope you people are having fun. A very warm welcome. Today we will be having our 8th lesson on reading skill, and we will be learning to answer short questions based on inference. This is our second session on learning to answer short questions based on inference, and in the previous session we learn to answer short questions based on inference by an activity known as KWL. Today, we will use another activity to answer short questions based on inference, and today we will be using activity named as it says, I say, and so on. In this activity, we have a table comprising 4 columns and we have to fill it in. In the first column, we have the questions which need to be answered. And then in the second column, which reads, it says, we go through the text and we try to get explicit information given in the text. And then in the next column, which says I say, we have to write here what do we understand after reading the text, what do we infer after reading the text, and then in the third, in the fourth column, and so we write our final answers. So today we will be applying this activity. It says, I say, and so on a paragraph which we have taken from our chapter number 14, Louis Pasteur. Let's go through the paragraph. He had gone away from his laboratory for a holiday, and in 1879, whilst working at Falcaldra, and on his return found all his cultivations of the germs dead or dying. He proceeded to inoculate various birds with those dead or dying germs and found that the birds showed sign of illness but recovered. The idea then occurred to him of inoculating them with a fresh lot of virulent germs of chicken cholera, and he was amazed at the results. Was that the birds still resisted the disease, though others, which had not been previously dosed with the exhausted germs, died. So he arrived at the method of attenuating germs, that is, of cultivating them so that they were weakened, and also at the fact that such germs inoculated into a healthy animal produce a mild type of illness, protected the animal from attack by the virulent form of the disease. Now we will be applying the activity I say, the activity it says, I say, and so on this very paragraph which we have taken from our chapter number 14, Louis Pasteur. Let's see what kind of questions are we asked on this paragraph. So the first question which we people are asked is, what are cultivations and why was Pasteur working on them? So in the first column, which is, it says, we will be referring to the text to answer this question. The question is, what are cultivations and why was Pasteur working on them? So let's see what can we find about cultivations on the given paragraph. Here we see that in the second sentence, we read, and on his return found all his cultivations of the germs dead or dying. So this is what we people have been given information about cultivation. So we have written it here. in the second column, he found all his cultivations of the germs dead or dying. So in the next column, I say, oh, we have to write what we have understood from this information, what we infer from the given information. So we infer that some germs were dead while others were dying. Some germs were dead while others were dying. So in the last column, and so we will be having our final answer. And here we may say that cultivations are weak or exhausted germs, and Pasteur was doing this experiment to inoculate them in birds and see the result. So this is what we have written as our final answer to the question, what are cultivations and why was Pasteur working on them? So the next question is, what amazed him and why? Once again, we will be referring back to the given paragraph, and here somewhere in the middle of the paragraph, we uh, we see that it is written, and he was amazed at the result. And why was he amazed? Because the birds still resisted the disease. He had injected a fresh virulent germs of chicken cholera into the birds, but even then the birds resisted the germs, though others which had not been previously dosed with the exotic germ died. So this is what we find from, this is what we have found from the given para, and it is written in the second column. He was amazed at the results. Was that the birds still resisted the disease, though others, which had not been previously dosed with the exhausted germs, died. So in the third column, I say we have to write what we understood by it, what we inferred by it, and here we can say that his inoculation empowered the birds to fight the disease successfully. The uninoculated birds died. The birds which was the birds which were not previously dosed with weak germs, we call them uninoculated birds, and the uninoculated birds died. And then in the next column, and so we have to write our final answer, and here we may write that the results of his inoculation of birds amazed him because he came to realize that the bodies of inoculated and uninoculated birds resisted the diseases differently. The inoculated birds resisted the disease, and the birds which were uninoculated, they could not resist the disease and they died. Let's see what we have next. We have another question here. And third question is, what were his two important discoveries? In the first column, it says we have to write here things which may be directly found in the text, which are explicitly given in the text. And we are writing from the paragraph, he arrived at the method of attenuating germs. That is, of cultivating them so that they were weakened, and also at the fact that such germs inoculated into a healthy animal produced a mild type of illness which protected the animal from attack by the virulent form of the disease. This is what we have been informed in the given para, and in the next column, I say we have to write what we have inferred from the given para, and we infer that he came to know how germs can be weakened, and how the inoculation of weakened germs offered protection to the birds against powerful attack of disease. We are talking about fall cholera. And in the next column, and so we will be writing our final answer to the question asked in column number 1, questions. So our final answer may be his first discovery was the method of cultivating germs, and his second discovery was that the inoculation of weak germs increased the immunity of birds' bodies. So this is how we may apply this activity. It says, I say, and so to make inferences. And on these inferences, we may be able to answer short questions. Well, this is all for today. You people have been provided with a practice document. It contains a paragraph from chapter number 14, Louis Pasteur. You people have been asked 3 questions on it, and you're supposed to use this activity. It says, I say, and so to answer those 3 questions. Thank you so very much. See you in the class.